Hey everybody, here it is 9:30 in New York and I'm Nidhi Pandya talking to you about happiness, and we're actually talking with Kat, who has a wonderful story. She lives in the northern part of India. That's not where she grew up, and she's going to talk to us about happiness, and happiness is an inside job. Kat helps thousands and thousands of women in the Indian subcontinent and beyond. And she talks to them about, here she is, I can see Kat has joined. And hey, Kat, do we have a request? Yeah, we do. Um, Hi, everybody. Hey, everybody. And I think a lot of people joining today will also be from Kat's family. Hey, Kat.
Hi guys, how's our connection? Can you see me?
I am going to tag Kat as well in my pin. I'm going to pin up her Instagram on my comment section, and the title is up top. But how are you doing, Kat?
Fantastic. How are you guys?
Great. Finally, we are able to do this, Kat. After so many times we've planned it, we've scheduled it. There has been some power outage, some scheduling conflict, but we are finally here, huh, Kat?
So happy about it.
Yeah. So, Kat, why don't I gave a small introduction, but I'd love to hear from your mouth, a little bit of your story, your journey, what brings to the northern part of India. I mean, I myself have been curious. There's only so much that I know. So let's hear it.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Nidhi. So in the last 4 years or so, you guys know me as Katrina, one of journey happiness coach, lifestyle coach, actually, in positive psychology. That makes people call me our happiness trainer, our happiness coach. And we can talk about what is it all about. Before that, almost 15 years of experience in corporate entrepreneurial life. I was born in Russia, moved to Canada. After some time, completed a couple of master degrees in Canada, went to America, finished my MBA, and there it's all started in New York City, management consulting for almost 15 years. India came after my marriage. My husband is Indian, so we decided after we got married, let's
Hey,
explore.
Kat, can I interrupt you? The
Yeah,
sound is not very clear, Kat. It's echoing a little bit. Should we try without the headphones? Sometimes that works for me.
let us try without headphones. If it's any better, yeah, I think it's headphones.
Uh,
Okay, so
So
Nidhi, I
you
was
basically
telling
had
you quickly, I was
all
trying
this
to.
corporate experience. Yeah,
This is okay?
this is perfect. This is perfect.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I was trying to not to get you guys too bored about my long journey when people ask me where are you from, and I say I'm from India, and they laugh because last 7 years I spent in India, but I was born in Russia. If I say I'm Russian, people say how things in Russia, and I really, honestly, not don't know much. So hope it's okay for introduction. We don't need to go back so much in time about all my experiences, but I think what is important to know that I do have my scientific background. I have Master of Science in Biochemistry and Biophysics, and that scientific work about the structure of human brain brought me to psychological aspects of human behavior. So from more like scientific exploration into psychological behavioral traits. And there where we find our happiness, because all of this can be managed, regulated, learned. You can say we can learn to be happy.
Right, great. So basically, Kat has had a lot of corporate experience, a lot of science experience, but eventually she was drawn to psychology and human behavior. Now, where exactly in India do you live, Kat?
So it's a beautiful place close to Himalaya, not so far from Kangra and Dharamshala, if you guys know these beautiful hills, Himachal, North Himachal. So far we here settling, enjoying nature.
Lovely. And what's the name of the place, Kat?
It's called Dolatpur, exact place.
Daulatpur.
Yeah.
Daulatpur.
And
Oh,
I'm here in our little cafe we built up here for local people that started as a library and now it's growing into cafe place and kind of
beautiful.
center activities for local people that's also built up by my
Kat, I'm
husband.
coming to visit you.
Huh?
I'm coming to visit you in Daulatpur.
Please, please, absolutely, yes. Now weather is finally good.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Himalayas. Like for me, like it's where I can get lost and completely
Yes,
intoxicated by nature. And so
yes, yes.
I'm definitely going to make my way there. And you have children, right, Kat? Can you also talk about
Yeah, I
that?
have my baby, baby Shannon, 6 years old. My biggest experiment in positive psychology, completely unschooled, without any influence of school structures and traditional systems. So I'm feeling brave enough to homeschool her here.
Lovely. So, Kat, you tell me, okay, first tell me, how did you first move into from corporate life to when did the concept of life is deeper than that? There's something deeper come to you. Like, what was that experience for you? And then we'll go into happiness.
You see, corporate life was a wonderful experiment to see how people also behave in teams. And I never forgot my scientific roots. It's just I switched a little bit into finance analytics, actually data analytics, AI, all these advanced technologies. But, it's always this kind of skills, they're universal. Doesn't matter where you work, what kind of job you have. But it's a daily responsibility to understand yourself, to track your thoughts, to track your emotions, to understand what do I really want in my life, and that's what makes us happy, right? That free choice, that feeling that whatever I do, I wake up, I choose to go to the office, great, because I love analytics, I want to explore analytics. As soon as I don't explore anymore, if I feel bored, it's my own responsibility to make a switch, to find something else, if that's the journey of life. I call it in some of my programs the journey of your heart. Heart. Listen to your little compass here, telling you, yeah, you're going right direction. Or maybe no, time to switch. And that's, I think, the biggest mistake people do. For some reasons, they choose to listen to voice of somebody else, voice of, public opinion that, IT is a good segment, analytics is a great one to go there, voice of beloved parents, the voice of beloved grandparents, and all these wonderful people giving you so much advice out of best intentions, but they might steer you in some direction that doesn't make you so happy. So one thing that we work with my students to recognize what exactly do you want. And many people don't know. Nidhi, in one of my programs, I'm asking to write down 10 goals, 10 wishes. And people don't know. They get confused after 4 or 5. Okay, I want car, house, job, travel. Yes, I want travel. That's it. They stop right there. And takes the whole program to help them to discover what exactly do you want inside.
Right. Wow. So tell me, Kat, what is happiness to you? Let's start with what is the definition of happiness? How are you going to define it for us?
Oh, yeah, of course. Happiness is that ability to feel that you are okay here, right now, today. So many people think that happiness comes after some kind of interesting, important events, acquisitions, like I'm going to buy a car, I will feel happy, I'm going to change my job, I will feel happy. So people expect, it's called external locus of control. Yes, so from external events and people and things, they expect happiness to come to them, and they will finally experience this blissful moment of happiness. While of course we understand that because of hedonistic adaptation, human beings are very, very fast to adapt to any great thing. You got new house, after a couple of days you'll forget about that it's a new house, and you will find something else to be unhappy about, even sitting inside beautiful new house. So it's really a skill to find the sources of happiness here, somewhere inside you, in your locus of control that doesn't depend on, quality of your car, because it's natural human ability to see everything negative around us. So you can see, I wake up today, beautiful cafe, wonderful Himachal, right? For sure, I can tell you 5 things that I don't like. Right, so maybe weather is rainy, internet connection is again bad, so what is it going on? It's my personal choice to gently and carefully focus my attention to, oh, look, sunrise is here. You always wanted the sunrise. So it's not natural, it has to be trained, right? Naturally, people like to see negative things. But I think Tony Robbins said that, well, negative thoughts are very natural for people. But guess what? What else is natural? Pee on the street. Pee on the street would be supernatural for humans if you are not potty trained child. So just like we potty train our children not to pee on the street, same we can train ourselves not to allow so much negative observations to cloud our feeling about today. Like today is a wonderful day, as wonderful as any day to be happy.
Great, great. I'm going to summarize that, Kat. So basically, we always rely upon an outside point for happiness and say, when this will happen, I will be happy. And then maybe momentarily we find joy in it, and then we find something to be unhappy about. Because as human beings, we are kind of trained to look at what's not there.
Yes.
And it's a muscle. It's a, you know, how it's basically a muscle. Happiness is a, and you have to develop it, and you have to train it, and you have to keep it, just how you get potty trained. You have to train yourself for having that state of being, and that state of being exists independently of any event outside. That's basically, I know Kat also has a program that we'll talk about in the ending, and also everybody who's listening, save your questions. About halfway through, I'm going to put on the comments. I've turned them off right now. But about halfway through, I'm going to turn on the comments so we can kind of go into a little bit of Q&A. So basically, happiness is this, you got to train your mind to be happy. So my question, right, Kat, and I want, you know, I see on your page, you have a lot of cool tips, very simple tips, which are amazing, which I want you to share with the audience. But what I also realized that as children, right, like when a baby is born in the world, the baby is not really, the baby cries because it communicates that way. But a baby is not really unhappy. You give it food, you clean its potty, and the baby is happy. At some point in life, we kind of create this circle of unhappiness. What is that, and when does it happen? Because certainly when you're born on this planet, you're actually born to be happy. You're born to be in that state of mind. And then some kind of conditioning happens and you find unhappiness. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, baby is beautiful topic, because baby is really a little mirror. So baby is a mirror of the family. And when baby is showing any kind of sadness, aggression, because baby is such a small member of family system, baby is reflecting everything that is happening in the family system. And people usually get very defensive when I say it, and there is nothing to be defensive about, because baby chose you. From esoterical spiritual point of view, baby soul is choosing you as a parent. No matter how good or bad you are, there is nothing good, nothing bad. I think that's exactly Ayurvedic, knowledge that everything is poison and everything is healing, right? Depends on how you take it. So parents trying to change themselves so much to adjust, to become somebody else, some perfect parent for my baby, and baby feel that something is not exactly genuine here. Mom used to be this way, now she's trying to be somebody else. Dad is sacrificing his whole life for the whole sake of the family. So all these little moments of fakeness, baby is catching very quickly. Baby also tries to adjust to expectations of the parents. You know how we love parents so much that every time they show us the signal that what you do is not right, baby suppresses it down to our shadow, that it will take many years of therapy to uncover what did you suppress at that moment. So of course, baby is a normal social being adjusting to the rules of the family system first, to school social system first, just to become that grown-up, socialized person. And that is also not good and not bad. There is nothing good and nothing bad. That's how life works. So on this way, during this process, baby losing this natural innocence, that natural happiness, and become quite burdened by a lot of rules and responsibilities and feelings that to be good girl, I have to follow what mom and grandma is saying. To be a good boy, I have to follow certain rules. So that limitation, again, focus on somebody else as a source of recognition of, am I good or am I bad? So that is suppressing that natural happiness. As soon as you're grown up adult and you have confidence to say, look guys, I don't need anybody to tell me good or bad. I can find something inside me again, inside my heart, to say, you go in the right direction. That kind of gives you a lot of sense of control and freedom and happiness too. So take some time to arrive there.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So what you're saying is that when you're born and you're born to enjoy the world, and then suddenly you start this process, which starts pretty much silently, this process of approval and disapproval. I often say, Cash, that even a crawling toddler, right? Even a 10-month baby, when he crawls for the first time, he'll look to see his mom's reaction.
Yes.
Um, and this constant exchange of approval and disapproval creates a sense, a sense of a false discipline. This is good, this is bad, this is rigid, and all the boundaries that we create as social beings upon ourselves and the children. And like Kat said, right, some of it's just how the world works. So it's not good or bad, but what it does do is kind of creates this whole, when you have disapproval from outside, you feel disapproval inside. And when you feel that disapproval inside, you kind of go into this process of just, this doesn't feel good. Like, nobody likes that. Like, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
This is what I'm supposed to do. So that journey between what I want to do and what I'm supposed to do, that distance can very quickly become the discomfort that we all experience.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Right? And when we discuss it here, we don't give any prescription to the parents to change something in their behavior. Of course, keep approving and keep disapproving. That's natural, right? Sometimes parents take an opposite extreme and allow children everything. And they can feel this is strange and fake. Suddenly mom changed, and now mom seems like she doesn't care if I'm climbing the tree. Like, that is also fakeness. Is that what hurts children most? Any kind of flavor of lying around them, that hurts them. They can feel it without verbal interaction. They feel that mom is really happy or not happy, dad is happy, not happy. So my best advice to parents is always just to be yourself. Whatever works for you, just find what really makes you happy. And baby will become happy right away. They absorb happiness like a little sponges. You don't need to change yourself or play some special activities or buy some special worksheets to make your baby happy. Just discover what do you love to do. And if it happens to be watch Netflix, so watch it and let baby play his own things. You don't need to be the super active, proactive, activities-driven mom to make your baby happy. Baby will feel mom is faking it.
Right. So what you're saying is that as a parent, you find your own happiness within. You create happiness by finding happiness, right? Yes. So in our kids, in our environment, you first become that happiness. And then it's very easy, especially in our children. That's the one thing that I always say as well, that when a parent heals, a child heals. You don't have to heal the child. You heal and the child will heal naturally and automatically. So, but Kat, you just said that if you want to watch Netflix, watch it, right? So that's always very confusing to me, because this is what I always say, that listen to your heart, right? And then there's people, and I talk about this with friends and with clients all the time, where the people are like, oh, I don't feel like actually going out socially, and I don't feel like going out. And for years, this pattern, I'll just give you one example, right? Or like for years, I want to watch Netflix and I want to watch Netflix. But when they look deeper, right, the desire is actually not to watch Netflix. The desire is to deny themselves of something, like deny themselves of the visibility of their own reality. So Netflix becomes an excuse. In that kind of, and this happens to all of us, right? So it's confusing to say, listen to your heart, because your heart could be acting out of fear. Your heart could be acting out of courage. So my personal guiding light is to tap into the courage my heart is acting with, right? To tap into the compassion, to listen to my heart when it's talking from fear or it's talking from denial. So what is your approach to that, right? Because if the truth is that, hey, watch Netflix if that's what makes you happy, is that happiness? Sometimes it can be denial for some people. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I love how you said, tap into your courage. Tap into your courage. That is absolutely right. Just do it in the right time. So do it when you are resourceful, when maybe you listen to Nidhi or went through some meditation and you feel so, at the high level of your spirituality, your brain is working, your neocortex is working, you're human. So at this moment, tap into your courage, and what I suggest to my clients, create a list of your joys. And this list has to be long. Don't stop at number 5. Number 1 and 2 will be food, Netflix, hug my beloved hubby, but go to number 30. When you reach by number 25, 30, you start discovering something that you forgot. Maybe it will be gardening. Maybe it will be stepping outside, meeting some friends. So some joy that also makes you happy, but it doesn't come to you so easily, maybe because it's not on the top of your obvious choices. But you can do this exercise only when you feel truly rested, resourceful, energetic. What happens usually when we come home after a long day, we are exhausted, we are burnt out. So your brain is not here. Your brain energy is somewhere on the level of emotional limbic system of your crocodile. Reptile brain is working. Your crocodile wants to a piece of cake and Netflix and leave me alone. Okay, otherwise I will break through. So that is reptile brain because you're tired. At this point is not the right moment to think about what other joys I have in life. You're mostly going to say, just leave me alone, give me a TV remote. So, but if you have this little cheat sheet, your list of joys, even in this moment of despair or when you're really tired, you might scroll down and go to number 12 on your list and think about, okay, I wrote it for myself, this little cheat sheet, that maybe it's good for me to do puzzle with my baby. And actually puzzles make me happy too when I solve some puzzle. So it gives you some reminder, even when your brain stopped working because you're so tired and you're so negative. So not only Netflix, your number 2 choice, but number 12 on your list is something also very interesting that also makes you happy. So this kind of exercise is important to do, and people make very beautiful lists of joys, my top 30 joys. They put it somewhere in Almira. So when they feel exhausted and frustrated, you open it up, reminder from yourself, what really makes you happy beyond obvious kind of band-aid choices of food and Netflix.
I really like that. Kat, not many people talk about it. That you think about, so because otherwise you can just be giving into your fears constantly. You can be giving into denial constantly, to shame and guilt. And we may make choices repeatedly out of shame, out of guilt. And then we may fool ourselves that this is what our heart wants to do. Mm-hmm. But what Kat is suggesting is when you're feeling resourceful, when you're feeling that place of that heightened spirituality, when you've had that ecstatic experience, that is the time you actually sit and write down all of those things that really make you tick. And then when you come back into your everyday playing field, and you're absolutely right? In your everyday mundane life, it's hard to feel resourceful. It's hard to feel inspired. But what you can do is, when you're in an inspired place, when you are in an inspired place, you can create that list, you can create those ideas, and you can, so it's great time, right, Kat? The great time to introspect is when you are feeling resourceful. Just to sit and introspect without creating that state of being may not be that productive. And I think that's a very, very important thing, that before we introspect, before we make that list, to bring ourselves to a state which is a higher self. And then when we come back into our mundane life, we have more tools to really take to our playing field, and we have more ideas around our happiness.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm teaching in my programs. I'm just giving this kind of practical tools. So it's not some fluffy philosophy, feel happy every day. People think, how can we do it? Yes, it's a basic biology of the brain. We have great moments and we have low moments, all of us. This brain requires a lot of energy to stay in that human highest state. Usually we slow down and go back to our emotions, but it's our personal responsibility to learn, to potty train ourselves to feel happy. So don't expect somebody else to take care of you. I think it's
responsibility to train ourselves to be happy.
And also that's the biggest, I think, misconception that people expect somebody else to come and help. Most ladies expect it from their husbands. Husbands expect it maybe from wife or from children, definitely, right? So and that what makes you angry, and that creates conflicts in relationships. Like, why the hell are you not making me happy? I was so in love with you. We had such a great time, and you now tired in your endless office job, and please come, finally you home, I was waiting for you, I cooked you a dinner, now you make me happy. And he is obviously, firstly, he is also requires somebody else to help him, but he, like again, happiness doesn't come from external sources or people. If you don't know how to be happy by yourself on a secluded island in the middle of the ocean, you will never give that happiness into your relationship. You will not create this happy bond between two people.
Very good. Yeah. That we have to learn to be happy in that place of solitude, in that place of seclusion. Find it within. In fact, sometimes, but I find it the minute people come around, Kat, there's expectations, right? Sometimes, I was talking to my sister, and like it's sometimes it's happy to be, it's easy to feel that state when you're by yourself. And then the minute you have, when people assume roles in your life, she's my daughter, he's my husband, that's my mother. The minute we attach these titles to the people in our life, we create them. Every title comes with subconscious expectations, like a whole rolling list of expectations. And then we forget to see them as human beings because we just assign them that role. And with that role comes this whole list of expectations. And there we go again. Yes. And we go again to really outsourcing our happiness, which really does not work at all. So, Kat, can we go into in a simple way, go into the biology of the brain? I personally use it a lot, and I find it very, very interesting to talk about the neocortex, the limbic system. So can you explain to people what are the parts of the brain and what are the functions that they're responsible for? And then we can talk about how we can tap into them before we go into your program, because that's what I want to talk about, and then take questions.
Sure. I think it's very simple, really. It's evolutionary. Assuming that our body, that little suit, originated long time ago from different species, so we can describe that origins of our brain, that a little piece like right on the close to our neck started very similar to what reptiles have. We call it reptile brain, and that is the basic instincts live here that allow us to breathe, digest, fight, eat, all these wonderful things that I call in my classes, I call it crocodile brain. So imagine crocodile. It can be peaceful and happy, but most likely it wants to eat something and very successful in fighting and protecting the territory. Then we move to emotional brain. Also, huge area of our brain is where emotions live. Limbic system that allows us to feel bond, connection, love, loyalty that we see in the highest mammals like horses and dogs. They have very similar structure. They also have quite developed emotional limbic brain. And on the top of that, a very recent evolutionary innovation of human neocortex, logical brain, where we have speech, where we have analytics, numbers, some memory. Some memory live in emotional brain, some in logical brain. But this novelty, innovation part of the brain is very energetically expensive for our body. It takes a lot of energy, and energy comes from your spine up to crocodile brain, then to emotional brain, and only if you have enough, if your battery is charged, then it's reaching here. If your battery goes down during the day when you're exhausted, if you didn't take enough rest, if you didn't do your meditations in the morning, the battery gets discharged and you have just enough to cover for your emotions. And that's when you need to feel loved. Hug me, please. You forgot about all the logic. You're living here. And if it's not happening and battery gets discharged down and down, you get to your angry crocodile that wants something sweet. Sweetness, fat, sweet, and leave me alone. Otherwise, I will start protecting my territory, because that is really already borderline exhaustion. and burn out. And that's a very dangerous signal. And people who operate on this level for a long time, that work very hard, don't know how to relax, don't have good routine, morning time, evening time, that's the recipe for depression. At some point, battery just stops charging in the morning. And you wake up in the morning, you don't even want to shower. So that's it, finished, right? Leave me alone. So that is depression, and we have a lot of cases what burnout state gets into depression. So very carefully about the signals. If you don't feel human anymore in the end of the day, means you have to have more breaks. You need to understand your body, listen to your body. You know, Nidhi, my last program is Body Quest. Obviously not about fitness, diet, it's about listening to the signals of your body when things are good and when things are not so good. Body is the first signaling system that gives you symptoms and illness as just as a very helpful, appreciated signal that something needs to change.
Very nicely explained, Kat. Very nicely explained. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to just quickly summarize that just to make sure that our audience has it a second time.
Sure.
Lovely. That basically three parts of our brain, right? The one is like reptile, the most primitive instincts, just basic survival mode. That's at the bottom of our brain. And then again, the top of our brain, right above that, which is the midbrain, which is basically the emotional brain, which makes us a little bit more human, which higher mammals have, which we can connect to others. You know, we feel emotions, we feel love, we need love, all of that. And then here, right here is this your prefrontal neocortex, which is basically the whole rational brain, logical brain. And this is really what makes us human. If we didn't have this, we would be like other species. And as we breathe in, and you know, we know this in the Vedic philosophy as well, energy flows from the base of the spine upwards. And I love the way Kat explained it, that we need to have enough surplus that we are constantly operating, that whole energy is coming all
Absolutely.
because when we live lives, we're just constantly burning out, intaking caffeine and just letting ourselves just really overexerting our nervous system as well as our physical body, then what can happen is that especially at night, you're so tired that you don't have, that's why so many times you're like, I can't think now. At night, I can't think. And you just want that hug. You just want that emotional connection. And you can be in the emotional brain. But when you don't even have that much, right? And you're stuck in the reptile brain, you're stuck in that primitive brain, then all your survival cravings, and either you can get angry, you can get cranky, you can crave sugar, you can just want to withdraw and freeze into your bed, right? Because that's also a survival instinct, is to freeze. And then you just want to freeze because you don't have the energy to become more human than that.
Yes.
I really like how Kat explained it, that long term, this kind of freeze is the depression, when you're just operating from the primitive brain and you're not doing those activities which make you human. The opposite of that is withdrawing. And then when you withdraw like that, you kind of get into depression. So I love the fact that Kat had a program before this called Body Quest. I mean, all your programs to me sound super interesting, Kat. And your Body Quest was about tuning into the signals of your body to know what it's trying to tell you. Wow. So, you know, Kat, so that being said, right, you've talked about the three parts of the brain. Now, how do people use this understanding, right? So you've said, okay, fine, you need to maintain enough energy. But I also want you to tell people about, at what points when we are scared, what part we operate from, and how do you integrate your brain in the moment of stress? And also, where is the pituitary gland in relation to all of these three systems?
Beautiful. So, of course, all these three parts of the brain are very well integrated. And the more integrated brain is happy brain. It's a happy brain. When you have more connections, on the different research papers, you can see these little hooks kind of growing through your logical brain into your emotional brain. And that is that's how, when we become mindful, what we call mindfulness, through all this careful observational work on our brain, when you feel, when you track your thoughts, when you track your emotions, when you mindfully divert your thoughts from chewing this negative thought for the whole day, you divert it to something happy. When you track your emotions, when you understand, okay, I'm angry, what should I do with my anger so I don't suppress it down to my stomach, right, and destroy my digestion system, but I am expressing my anger in an ecological way, in loud singing or some sad poem or something that makes you really express your emotion. So that is called mindfulness. And that's what we learn in our programs. Like Make Happiness is a 4-week program, 1 week for happy thoughts, 1 week for happy emotions, 1 week for happy body, and 1 week for happy spirit. Spirituality is a big part of your happiness. Different people find different spirituality in different ways. But all these 4 things, just learning the right tools and the right approach, integrating your parts of your brain much better. So you actually have, you know, like your...
Is that your dog?
My dog wants to join our program. So just 1 second, just give me, otherwise he's making so much noise. I think just 1 second.
Yeah, come back. But the way she's explaining stuff is really, really beautiful.
So you see beautiful Himachal life with dogs and everything. So I was saying that usually we operate on some neural pathways in our brain. And growing new pathway, it takes time. It takes at least 1 month to help your brain to go into right positive direction.
Right, right. And you know, Kat, the one example that I love to use is Dan Siegel. You know, Dan Siegel has this model of the brain that
yes,
this is your, you know, this is the reptilian brain, this is the midbrain, the emotional brain, and this is the rational brain.
Beautiful.
And this is how they integrate. This is how they are. And then when we go into that mode of stress and survival, then it becomes like this. We don't have access to the rational brain because your brain literally goes like this. It just, and then we are just feeling these emotions. And then his other trick is that the minute you can start naming feelings, right? So they say name your feelings. If you're angry, when you say angry, when you're able to intellectually name how you are feeling emotionally, then this part has no choice but to connect with this part. The naming comes from this part and the feeling comes from this part. And then you can integrate your brain again. So, you know, that's one of the things also that I really like to work with, that when that your brain has gone flipped like this, you kind of name your feelings and express it, like she said, instead of swallowing it and feeling terrible, you express it. And the minute you express it, even to yourself, whether you write it down, but you acknowledge it, then you find integration back in your brain. And that's, again, mindfulness. And now, Kat, tell us a little bit about your happiness program. And, you know, what is it? Is it online? What kind of, you work with mostly people in India, all over the world. And you said it's a 4-week program. So tell us a little bit more about it.
It's a very easy program. We run it on WhatsApp.
I'm going to turn comments on as well. Turn on commenting so people can ask questions. Okay, let's do it.
So very simple program. We run it on WhatsApp group, WhatsApp or Telegram. I'm usually sharing my videos maybe once in a week for the whole week of you to enjoy in your free time. There is no specific kind of meetings or lectures. And I love to make my trainings as infotainment, informational entertainment, because it's very difficult for people to hear some boring lectures. So I use a lot of examples, a lot of jokes, Russian jokes, American jokes, examples of my students, examples of my clients, to make it come to life to you. And so once in a week, share this module, you watch it in your convenience. We do have live sessions, Q&A, completely optional. If you have something to ask me, come. If you don't, just enjoy the program itself. And the results are wonderful. We run, Make Happiness is one of my eldest programs. We run it for 2 years. Reviews available on the whole page on Instagram. It's all about reviews for Make Happiness and how people truly feel happy after that. Many months later, many years later, it stays with you, this kind of basic skills. And one underlying foundation of personal responsibility, that nobody is going to make you happy. Please, you know, from today, you take it into your own hands. Learn how to do, how to become happy, and apply it in your life. If you choose not to, you remain where you are. Nobody is going to come and save. Not my beloved hubby, not your government, not your boss, not nobody else. It's nobody else's responsibility but yours. So we start from there, and it gives people a sense of control and freedom, that I will choose to be happy. And you know, I have wonderful friends from New York and Gurgaon who have these millions and crores and billions. And if they don't know how to feel happy, even with all this money and success, they're still not happy. I had this friend with beautiful house in Delhi. I came to him, I said, this is amazing. This house is beautiful. He said, Kat, I'm frustrated. Generator is not working. My cook quit. I just want to lock myself in my office on the top of this house and never come out. So, you know, money can buy happiness, but before that, you need to know how to use them, how to use your material benefits before you truly feel happiness. Every day, every single day of your life. So that's the premise of my programs. Feel happy today before you change external things in your life.
Absolutely lovely. And I think this is something that should be taught in schools, Kat.
Yes.
The whole understanding of life is reversed when you know, just the whole the way we work, right? We really start believing that the external sources bring us happiness or unhappiness, but it is really that muscle memory that you can develop. You can really create. And I know that I've worked on for the last 2 years, and I can see the big difference it's made in my life to create. It's a state of being. And so many of us are used to traumatic states of being, or toxic states of being, because that's the only thing we've experienced for so many years. So with a program like that Kat is offering, right, you basically learn to reprogram. Like she said, you create neural pathways. It takes about 3 weeks to a month to create, where you kind of create that setup in your brain, where your brain has a new normal. If it was used to trauma, now it's forgotten that trauma and it has a new normal. So it's a 4-week program that Kat is offering. For somebody who asked, how do you get in touch with Kat? I've pinned her page, One Up Journey, right, Kat? And then they can reach you on that One Up Journey page. If anybody...
Link in my bio, in the link in my bio, all the current programs, what is available next week and what can be, you guys join from any point, any place in the world. Just do it at your convenience.
Yeah, and very flexible. And listen to some of Kat's work, because I think some of the ideas that she gives on all areas of life, every aspect, whether it's relationships, whether it's parenting, it's happiness, it's self, it's all of that. She has some really, really great advice. So definitely check it out. See the link in her bio. Kat, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? Anything about happiness that we have missed that you think is important to talk about before we go?
Nidhi, just last 2 seconds. We had frozen frame. Can you repeat last question?
I said, Kat, is there anything, right, that you think is very important in this conversation that we have missed, that we should address?
So I think we spoke a lot about our brain, but I want to give some credit to our body. That's a wonderful, place where we keep our emotions absorbed. Usually body serves as this boxing punching bag for our emotions, because what we cannot digest with our brain, what is too difficult to understand, why I'm so angry, why I'm so sad, we push down on our shoulders, on our muscles, on our stomach, on our all different body organs, and bodies carefully and patiently absorbs all this over many years. So when clients come to me with the issues around their health, we always start discovering you can call it psychosomatics. It's of course is much more complex than just aligning your symptom with your emotion, but that is a process of deep discovery and acceptance of your feelings, and learning how to express the feelings in a more ecological way, so your body doesn't have to tolerate it for so many years. And that absolutely has to be part of school program. I wish emotional intelligence would become part of the school program, but at least parents can learn it. Parents can learn it. And I'm happy to see lots of male students coming to my programs now. And they actually make the best students. They're very disciplined. They're very precise and write down all the learnings and insights. And between mom and dad who have emotional intelligence, that also helps children. That's something that you can teach your children. You should, with your personal example and with explanation where anger lives and where sadness lives and what to do with all these confusing emotions.
Absolutely.
And one last point here, we spoke about emotional intelligence, EQ. And now research moves to vital intelligence, VQ. So that's the energy that we discussed. In Ayurveda, I think we have beautiful 7 chakras where energy originates and gets higher and higher. And some energy you get from higher sources, right? From the 7th chakra. So all the science about energy moving in your body, this VQ, vitality intelligence, that is also very important. I think we should move to that direction, educate people more about how to grow and how to keep your energy morning time, evening time, any time of the day.
To preserve your energy. So it's not only about emotional intelligence, it's also about having that extra surplus, that vitality. In Ayurveda, you call it ojas. You know, you have your prana and you have your ojas, and it's protecting your ojas. So you go further and beyond in this life, right? It's not emotional intelligence is that first step, but beyond that, you want to maintain that vitality so that you can operate in that larger scheme of things and that larger, higher self in the world. And all of this work, none of this goes wasted. Anybody who does this work, it's not, like she said, it's not fluffy philosophy, it's science, it's deep wisdom. It has been around for thousands of years. We've learned now through combining modern psychology and ancient spirituality, and together it becomes quantum physics. And we learned how to do that. We have great people like Kat teaching this stuff. So guys, definitely take a look.
And the last point, Nidhi?
Yeah, please.
Just last very important point. I think I found it so beautiful how this knowledge aligns from different sources. When I study chakra and ancient, Indian Vedic Ayurvedic knowledge, how beautifully it aligns to some science that European scientists discovered completely independently, like the work of muscle armor of Professor Reich, or all this wonderful work of Carl Jung. Like, it's exactly, they identified 7 energy points in our body. And only later they connected with Indian knowledge of chakra. So all these things gives us some confidence that there is some universal kind of knowledge and rules that we should really understand. It has to be it's almost like hygiene of human, to understand that basic rules of your body and your mind.
Everybody should look at Kat's programs. It's really good. I'm glad that you're in India, Kat. And of course, while people can work with Kat from all over the world, I think it's great for, a lot of people in India also definitely need a program like that. And what Kat said is brilliant, right? Today they're aligning the endocrine system with the 7 chakras. Or, you see, like you're saying, there's 7 points in the body, all different cultures through their own intuitive experience. By shutting off the senses and going within, we're able to come to that same experience, to that same experience of the truth, of the reality, which again reminds us that this wisdom is so much deeper than what we imagine it to be. So let's all take advantage of it. And I know it's 7 right now. It's what, 7:50 for you, Kat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost. Beautiful time now.
Yeah, it's 10:20 for me in New York, and between 7:50 in India and 10:20 here in New York, we managed to have this lovely conversation, your morning, my night. I will be posting this conversation on my page. So for those of you who are not early risers and who missed this, please check it out. I love some of the explanations, and hopefully we can all make happiness that inside job. Thank you, Kat.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nidhi. I'm so glad to connect with you once again.
No, me too.
Wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who's been around and listened. Thank you. Take care, Kat. Good.
Take care.
Bye.